Hey, I found his dad!
I think Dad has made some excellent progress today.
Your dad, he's a fun guy, right?
And I love him so much, and I think he's the greatest dad in the world.
Welcome back to Working on the Dad Pod. I'm Alex. He's Ethan. After a 1-2 week hiatus, some sort of hiatus, we are back, better than ever. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? To be determined. But tonight we are talking about working on tough mornings. Really answering the question, why are mornings so hard? Before that, we'll do story time. After that, we will work on the dad. Maybe the bod, maybe the book, maybe the mental health. Who knows? We'll figure it out when we get there. You can be surprised just like us. But before we get started, this is your reminder to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcasts, follow us. We're there. Shared with Ethan earlier. We talked a lot about video podcasts on Apple. And I'm not saying this episode will be a video podcast on Apple, but I am saying I saw a news article from a reputable news outlet that Spotify will be adopting the technology to send the videos to Apple at some point. I just didn't read far enough to figure out what that date was, so it may or may not be tonight. But at some point, if you're an Apple Podcast diehard, you could see our faces, or you could not. It's up to you.
Facts.
Ethan,
Facts.
how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. When we last spoke, it was before I went to Portugal and before you got on a boat. And I just want to talk a little about Portugal. So this was my first time there.
Sure.
And we flew into Lisbon. And the first night, my wife and the bride and a bunch of ladies went to the bachelorette party. And I organized a dinner between me and another insignificant other. And there were supposed to be three of us. One of them got held up in customs and missed dinner altogether. Never ended up actually introducing myself to that guy, since he never sent an email to explain why he missed dinner. So I was petty, but I did end up on his flight back. He made it back to the United States, but that's neither here nor there. So me and this other guy, we end up having a blind man date at Taberna do Mar, which translates to the Sea Tavern. And I had no idea. I had heard, but I had no idea how affordable Portugal truly was. This meal was 10 seafood courses, then found out there was an additional 4 dessert courses, and it was 35 euros each. We each got a beer and some port. We actually each added a dish because I asked the waitress, was there anything else we didn't eat that you think we should eat? And she said yes. So between the two of us, it came to, after the drinks, and then we threw in a tip because it was a great time, came to 110 euro, which ended up being 125 between the two of us, which was so good. And it was fantastic. If you count the beers and the ports as courses themselves, it ended up being 16 courses for.
We have meals around here that are around that for one course for the 4-person family.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe a drink.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And that was night one in Lisbon. I then joined my wife and our 2 traveling companions on a food tour the next morning, which was 5 restaurants. And that came to $40 a person. I can't believe how affordable this is. And we went to some great 5-star restaurants. The Airbnbs, both in Lisbon and Porto, totaled 600 euro for the 5 nights combined between, and each one had 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. I could not believe how affordable this place was. And it was just amazing. And I gotta say, I did not truly work on the dad bod this trip because I was traveling with my wife, who never finishes any food, her friend who's on a massive health kit, who only ate half of everything, like aggressively so, and then a third friend who is just a compulsive sharer. So I ate so much food. And spoiler alert, I came back quite higher than when I left.
Yeah.
However, as we've discussed before, I have a problem sometimes where if I've paid for it, I'm going to eat it. And
Sure.
on the flight back, I ate the ground beef pasta from Tap Portugal, which I probably should not have eaten. It didn't taste the best. It didn't make me think I was going to get sick, but I was paid for it, so I ate it. And then 24 hours after my flight, started feeling quite sick, and I was out with food poisoning for about 54 hours.
Yikes.
It was rough. That said, I've bounced back. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, but must recommend Portugal to anybody and everybody. It was Lisbon for 2 days. We then did a 3-city van tour, which went to Óbidos, which for those of you who have never heard of it, it is a old like medieval castle that they just built a town in it, which is really cool that people like live there. There's shops. It kind of felt like an episode of Game of Thrones, but modern. And then we went to Nazaré, which is the beach that has the 100-foot waves. This was not the time of year for it, so it was just a beautiful beach. We then went to Aveiro, which is essentially very similar to Venice. Like we took a gondola tour it's a bunch of canals. It was beautiful. Made it to Porto, which was excellent. Walked around all day. Went to the wedding part, like the reception that night, which was lovely. And then on our final day, full day in Portugal, we took a bus tour to the Douro Valley, about 90 minutes outside of Porto, where we did wine tasting, had lunch, another boat tour around a bunch of vineyards. Would very much recommend Portugal. And you know how Champagne is specific to the Champagne region of France. Port wine was protected in the Porto region of Portugal about 85 years before Champagne protected Champagne. So port was the Champagne before port, or no, was the whatever. Point is, go to Portugal if you can. Yeah. Thank you. That's my story time. Thank you.
Cheers. Yeah, what a segue. I will say around the affordability of Portugal, it's something where my wife and I have explored we've never acted on it. Not really sure we will, but we've thought about doing like a month or two abroad during the summer, right?
Mhm.
And Portugal has usually been one of the top destinations along with something in Central America. Part of that is the fact that Portugal is in the same time zone as the UK. So it's like one less hour than most of Western Europe, making it a little more feasible where like 5 p.m. Eastern time is 10 p.m. there. And it's like, okay, I could work till 10 p.m. Right. I did this when we lived in Morocco for a little bit. But the other thing is that affordability. Like I've looked into it, if you're ever like trying to get a visa to like live in Portugal, they will take it for you buying like real estate, right? You just gotta you could buy a house. I'm not saying you buy a house like you buy a 10-course dinner, but
sure,
if you've got that kind of money, or think
if you live in Portugal as an expat, they waive your first 10 years of income tax. Which they are really open to it, but it is for where it is, for the resources available to it, just like being able to take all the European airlines and go throughout Europe if you need to. It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid place. Yeah. But yeah, since we last recorded, I also went on an international trip.
took Disney cruise to Mexico and the Bahamas. My first cruise, my first ever cruise. So that was fun. I mean, I'm not going to count like single day cruises. My first time ever sleeping on a cruise ship.
Sure.
So that was a lot of fun. And I think really my first big takeaway from this was we really need to rethink the phrase Mickey Mouse operation. Because like Mickey Mouse has his shit together.
Sure.
Like
the actual
like,
Mickey Mouse, yeah.
He all puns intended runs a tight ship. Like
yeah.
and you know, but it was a really good experience. I mean, it was obviously, for those of you that are returning listeners, we did the big like Disney World trip over, you know, around Christmas this past year, and that was a lot of fun. But this was more easygoing, right? And it had a couple of things for that. One, there's no rides. Like the things you were waiting in line for might be to meet and greet a character or to get into like the stage show of Hercules or Frozen that we had on our ship, or waiting in line to get into dinner or something like that. But none of those lines were crazy, and they pale in comparison to waiting in line in the Florida heat for like any ride. When your kids are tired, hot, and sweaty. But most importantly was the kids club. They have a pretty robust kids club. I mean, and it's even cool enough to be like, hey, there's an entrance on the 3rd floor where the kids can take a slide down to the kids club on the 2nd floor, and that's how you check them in. And they just shoot down the slide, and they're gone, and you wave bye-bye to them.
That sounds sweet.
And yeah, it's pretty cool, and you can drop them off anytime between 8 a.m. and midnight. Leave them as long as you want to. There is no like food or drink there, and they do have some policies that, while I very much agree with and understand them on a cruise, I am really glad that like our son's daycare doesn't have them, where if the kid says they want to leave, they're going to message you and say, hey, your kid wants to leave. Like they are they're not obligated to keep them. If your kid says they're hungry because there's no food or drink, it's like they have water fountains, but like anything past that, it's like they're going to be like, hey, your kid is hungry. And so we got a few messages. My son, you know, would get dropped off, and he was just very unsure of when we'd be back. You know, as a 4-year-old, he doesn't really understand the time thing. And so we got a couple messages the first couple of days, you know, when we left him in there 30, 45 minutes. And so we had to talk to him and be like, hey, buddy, we're coming back. We were planning on like an hour 15. Like we wanted to do something. Usually that something is simply like going to the gym, because there was a fitness center on board. My daughter, on the other hand, was like pining for the independence. It was just like, hey, I'm going to head down to the kids club. And I'm like, I would prefer to walk with you down there. Like, I understand that this is like a closed vessel, but like
still,
and I trust you, but I don't trust you that much. So, you know, she was pining for it and mad about it, but we had a good experience. I mean, we kind of threw routines out the window, you know, like there was one day where we napped for 2 hours so the kids could stay up for the onboard pirate party that started at 10:30 p.m. And I think we were still on Central Time at that point, so it was like 11:30 according to their body clocks, which was great. You know, but we you know, I think I went in with a vision of like, okay, we're gonna go to bed around 8:30 because the kids are gonna be tired, and then we'll sleep until like 6:30, and I'll just be overslept and relaxed. And it turned into like, okay, there's a couple of nights where, man, I really could have used a little more sleep because we took the guardrails off for the kids, but it was a great time. So
that's great.
You know,
I have a question. This was a Disney cruise. How many Disney adults were on it?
Enough.
Okay.
More than enough. I mean, listen, I am not going to say that I dislike Disney adults. That's strong. I don't have an opinion. They're not in my way.
Sure.
But I definitely said to my wife, you know, like there are things like you become a member of the Castaway Club, right? When you take a cruise, we're members now. We've taken one cruise, and you get certain benefits for, like, they're not amazing benefits because you're not paying to be in this club. It's just based on the number of cruises you've taken. You get benefits for different thresholds. And on their private Bahamian island, Castaway Cay, if you've taken 50 cruises, you get your name like written on the wall, like etched more permanently. There were more names on that wall than I was personally comfortable with. Of like 50 cruises is a lot of cruises.
Especially to only do 50
they go to other
to only do 50 Disney cruises.
And I will say this.
Yeah.
They don't just run one route. They have European cruises, they have Alaskan cruises. Yeah. Like you can vary it up, but there's only so many routes you can take. It's like you have decided that one, you're going to exclusively vacation with Disney cruises, or you have way too much money and way too much vacation time. Yeah, it's a lot. I told my wife, I was like, once our kids age out of this, like I'm fine to go on cruises, but I like the thing about a Disney cruise is like I very much feel like I had a good time and it was still specifically like more catered to kids. And I loved that because I had kids, but if I didn't have kids, I don't see why I would do that.
Right. Right. Okay. Cool. That was my only and you guys found this through, was this one of the ones your wife found through Costco?
No, she didn't find it through Costco. I mean, like, because she took a very like active role in optimizing our December trip, she was listening to a lot of podcasts about like Disney and how to optimize Disney and like hacks and tricks and tips. And one that she was listening to quite a bit is hosted by a travel agent. Honestly, a fantastic like marketing effort. And so that woman was our travel agent. And helped us book this. But like, you know, she got us some deals and some perks as travel agents can do on these kinds of things. I think I've known a few travel agents, done a little work for them in the past, as in like marketing efforts for them. And like cruises are one of the places in 2026 where travel agents really thrive. For sure. So like if you're taking a cruise, highly recommend checking out a travel agent because they sometimes have deals and packages that we don't have, especially for places like Disney, who is maybe not as big into sale prices.
Sure. Cool.
But yeah.
Cool. Nice. Excellent. Yeah. I'm gonna rewind our conversation to threw off the routine like you did on the boat. Transition super clean into the topic of tough mornings. See what I did there?
Yeah. I mean, this is a topic that has been top of mind for me for a couple of reasons. One, I think we can all agree, like mornings kind of suck. If your morning doesn't suck, I don't like you.
Can I say something? I want to say something. I used to be a morning person. I would get woken up in the morning. I actually didn't need an alarm. My dad was always up. We always say my dad never adjusted from East Coast time to West Coast time. So he would normally wake up between 3 and 4 every morning. So when I had to get up for school, my dad would just like knock on the door and say, "Ethan, time to wake up." And I would like jump out of bed, excited to start my day. It disgusts me now. But at the same time, I'm envious of that kid and hope to one day become a morning person again, because morning people seem so happy. But my God, do I hate them. I'm just straight up gonna say it. Yeah. So I used to be one.
I hate morning people. I hate people that have an easy morning, right? Because I am the first one up. I don't usually have a hard time waking up. Some mornings, there's the odd morning where I do. But most mornings I'm usually able to get up and get myself acclimated. But it's the process, you know, more than just waking myself up. It's the process of getting kids out the door,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this
Yeah.
was something that like you were mentioning
Sure.
when we were chatting about potential topic ideas for tonight, where I was like summer camp chaos. And you were like, well, you know, I've got a pretty tight work schedule, haven't, you know, not being able to telework anymore. And so I got to work with like a single drop off and what's convenient for my
Yep.
mornings.
Yep.
And that kind of inspired me to be like, well, that kind of ties into really what I'm feeling around summer camps. Like, yeah, I've got summer camp specific thoughts, but like right now, my mornings are chaotic. My summer mornings are going to be different, better in some ways, but more chaotic in other ways. And then I've got the big transition that I am both looking forward to and scared of in the fall, where my son is going to be starting pre-K at the elementary school, and therefore he will have to be out the door at the same time as my daughter, which is
Right.
approximately 7:20 a.m. Normally he gets out the door 30 minutes later, and he has time to take his sweet time based on them waking up at 6:30.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. As you mentioned, I can no longer telework. So when it comes to a lot of choices my wife and I make, it has come down to the single drop off. For example, we chose to enroll my daughter in the bus route that picks up at the preschool because there's plenty of kids who do before and after care there. So we end up paying for before and after care for a single drop off and a single pickup, even though technically she could probably be picked up at a bus stop actually closer to our house. Granted, that's 2 blocks.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is just easier to get both girls to one place for the same time. And I will say that, you know, when I lost my ability to telework, it also impacted mine and my wife's decision on how many schools we were going to enter the lottery on for my older daughter's kindergarten to get into either French or Spanish immersion. And
Yeah.
because there were only 3 schools that picked up at the before and after care. And she did not get into any of those 3. So she's not in immersion. She has some friends who are doing both French and Spanish, and they all seem to be doing well. And, you know, I'm a little bit jealous. I think it'd be really cool if my daughter was bilingual.
Seem to be doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. Haha. I did. Yes, it's true. And, you know, but these are decisions that are all impacted by the fact that my mornings are not as relaxed as they used to be.
Yeah. I mean, and it really boils down to like the differences in how kids and adults operate, how our brains function at different ages, right? Like kids, they don't perceive time well. Kids don't care about deadlines, and they are motivated by like curiosity and rewards and all of these kinds of things. And like even if they can tell time like my daughter can, they don't perceive what 5 minutes really feels like in their bones, right? And so and on the flip side, parents, they're operating on work schedules and school start times, traffic, attendance policies, like all of our own things, right? Like me, it's like she's thinking about like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. Like, I don't want to brush my hair. I don't want to finish my breakfast. I don't want to get my clothes on. I don't want to do this stuff. And I'm going, if I don't get you to school on time, you're going to be tardy. If you're tardy, then I'm in a rush to get back home. And then I'm in a rush to get your brother and get to the gym. And then I'm in a rush to do my workout because I've got to finish my workout and take him to school before I get to work on time.
Yep.
And if you can't get yourself out the door, my whole morning screwed up, right? Like that's where I'm coming at that from that lens.
Exactly.
And she is coming at it. And I've tried to explain this to her as nicely as I can. Like, hey, I'm not like hassling you just because I care that much about whether you're tardy or not.
Right.
You could be tardy if it didn't impact me so much.
Right. And my daughter, all the same things, but then I'll say something like, it's my body, so it's my choice to be late. And as proud as I am that she has truly embraced my body, my choice. Yes, exactly. You're using it wrong. And you know, I don't want to like boy who cried wolf on her right now, but it's like if that's where you're using it now, if you really need to use it later, it might not go well. And it's like I just need you to get it. And it's funny because, you know, with our current schedules, as I've mentioned many times on the pod, I handle mornings, my wife handles pickup, and she has it kind of just as tough now with just my daughter making gymnastics team. Gymnastics starts at 4:50, which means my wife has to have her in the car by 4:30, which means picking up from aftercare no later than 4. And it's like a whole thing where we now have it on both ends. And it's tough. It is just tough. As you mentioned, kids do not my daughter can tell time. She understands when I say, hey, it's after 7, we should have started getting it. Like she realizes what late means. It just doesn't, she doesn't feel it. She doesn't understand the impact. She doesn't have that aggressive itch in her body where she's fidgeting because she's late. Like my parents hammered into my younger brother and I, you know, punctuality or call. Like we live in a time of cell phones, right? So and texts. There's never an excuse to not let somebody know you're going to be late. Even if the goal is to be fashionably late, you know, if you're any later than that, you can still let people know. But man, I just want my daughter to feel once I wish I could just like give them the anxiety.
Like the thing that kills me, right, is my daughter's school starts at 7:35.
Right.
I want to walk out the door by 7:20 when we're riding bikes, especially, so that we can have ample time in case there's some traffic because we have to cross the street. Like we have to go across to the sidewalk and then cross back to get down the street we're going. We're basically going one street down. We just got to cross. Yep. And there's a Catholic school basically a block down from her elementary school. And the car line for the Catholic school comes down the road that we're crossing both ways. So the parents are going through this suburban area and there's fairly decent traffic for this road that we live on that's nothing but residential.
Right.
And so I always want to leave at 7:20. And both my wife and my daughter, my wife's not helping me on this. You know, she's like, you know, why do you have to be out the door at 7:20? I'm like, because it gives us buffer. Right. Now I'll circle back around to that concept of buffer later, but like, I'm like, because it gives us buffer. And like, sometimes there are some mornings where I don't have anything to do, or maybe I know I've got a short workout, or I know I don't have any like early meetings. And therefore, like if I show up to my desk a few minutes late, like if everything goes off the rails a little bit, I'll be okay. Or I just don't care as much. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to let her be late. And there was a day just this week where we left at 7:29. And I told her how late we were. And I was like, she's going to be tardy. They're going to lock, like the bikes are at a bike rack for these kids locked inside a gate. And when the bell rings, the first bell at 7:35, and then there's a second bell at 7:40. When the first bell rings, someone locks that gate. I'm like, she made it. Because I was waiting for that moment to be like, I told you, this is why you got to listen to dad. She sped up and she made it by the skin of her teeth. And I was just like,
What?
I got back home and I did the Jesse Pinkman to my wife. I was like, she can't keep getting away with this.
You wanted her to feel the consequences. You wanted
Yes,
her to realize.
and she
Yeah,
didn't.
no, I got you. I know.
It was
I
like
know.
the moral of the story is dad's full of shit. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember what it was specifically, but I had a very similar experience. It had nothing to do with being on time, but it was definitely like I wanted her to feel the pain of failure. I wanted her to know the consequences. I wanted her to like not come out of whatever she was doing that was awful and annoying the crap out of me. I wanted her to not come out unscathed. And I know that, and it's funny because when you say it out loud, I'm like, man, I'm such a shit dad. But at the same time, I'm not, because I want her to learn from it.
no,
But the
natural
words,
consequences.
right? Yeah, the
It
words
takes
make you
place-
sound bad.
No, but it's natural consequences that take the
Yeah.
place of you saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. It's like life's going to do this, right? Like
Right.
my daughter and her friend one day were struggling. Like my wife was out of town. I have them both come over. I have a meeting from 2:30 to 3.
Mhm.
And I told them, I was like, I've set an alarm on the Alexa. You need to get your dance clothes on. And at 2, and we have to leave when my meeting's over at 3. We have to leave to go to the dance studio. So you got to be ready. And at 2:57, I look out the window and they're in the backyard in their school clothes. They got reprimanded by the dance teacher. And my
Yeah.
daughter's all sad about it. And I'm like, that is a natural consequence, right?
Mhm.
Like, that is, you made a choice. I made it clear. I told you that this alarm would be going off. You chose not to be in the building with the alarm.
Right. Yep.
You chose to go outside and play.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think with the morning specifically, right? Like what makes it tough, and I sort of mentioned, you know, we've got the different priorities, the different motivations, and like it is tough for kids to like go from sleepy groggy to like perfect executive function in like
Sure.
5 minutes flat.
Right.
And so, you know, some of the strategies, there is no perfect,
Mhm.
but there is better. You do some of these, I know. I do some of these. But like improving the way that you operate, you know, it's like I feel like mornings are, if you work in a corporate environment, right? Like if you work in a corporate environment, then it's just like morning parenting is like high stakes project management.
Yes.
And so it is just making sure that you have factored in all the risks, seeing all the things that can go wrong, having contingencies when they do go wrong, and making sure the project still gets delivered on time and on budget.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say my daughters love listening to music on our Alexa every morning when they're having breakfast, right? But the problem is they will get into the songs and they will stop eating. So, and I don't really like doing rewards at every scenario. I
Sure.
would really like to avoid that. But sometimes it just is, you can have music once you've had 5 bites. You know, like you eat five spoonfuls of cereal and then I'll turn the music on. But the moment I see you stop eating, you'll get one warning and then it's done.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. And you know, and then there's some mornings where I'll just put it on. I'll let it be, because you know, if sometimes they remember that they don't have to ask me to activate it since they know how to speak. And so it's one of those things where I try not to over reward, but sometimes the rewards get results, and it's one of those things that I don't feel great about, but it's a results oriented business.
Well, and it's a low key thing, because at the end of the day, like you're not. I used to justify to myself that I'm teaching my kids about the real world and how to like prepare for it and get ready. And I don't think that that's wrong, but I also think that I'm not angry at them. I'm anxious about the time, right?
Yes.
And I think most parents, when they search deep within their soul, they're not angry at their kids. They are anxious about the time and the impact their kids are having on the time.
Right.
And I've accepted at some point that they are going to have responsibilities. They're going to feel the weight of those responsibilities, and they are going to develop that same anxiety about time. And that will end up being their driving force when there are no longer rewards.
Sure. Sure. I think
So,
that's
you
good.
know, it's because, right, like kids don't care about deadlines. They don't have deadlines. My daughter is in first grade. She never has homework, right? She's had 2 teachers who really don't believe in homework. And eventually she's going to get there, and eventually she's going to care. But right now, the biggest wrench she'll throw in the plan is like, oh, by the way, I needed this permission slip signed by today. And it's like, it's 7:22. You're
Right.
supposed to be on your bike. But
Right.
okay, now we have to sign a permission slip. Or, oh, I told my friend I was going to bring this thing for her. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, this could have been handled last night. And
Mhm.
that, parents, is the secret to making your mornings better, right? I mentioned that you do some of these things and I do some of these things, but like everything you can do the night before saves you anxiety in the morning, right? And some of
Right.
the examples, some that I do and some that I don't always do, are like
Do.
packing lunch,
Mhm.
which I know you do, but pulling out clothes, you know, making the kids pick outfits to eliminate any decision paralysis, any time of that, of like, you've got your clothes on, you go ahead and pull them out.
Yeah.
Every single night when I put the kids to bed, last thing I do before I give them a hug and kiss goodnight is I ask them for their breakfast order. Because what I do is I wake up before everybody else in the house. I know what everybody's going to be having for breakfast. So when they wake up, their breakfast is ready. And so if sometimes my daughter comes out, she's got her clothes on, she's ready to go. Sometimes she's not. And I'm like, okay, here's the cereal you asked for. You don't have to think about asking me for cereal or waffle or yogurt or whatever it was you asked me for. You told me last night, here it is, you got your meal, and all you have to do is spoon to mouth, right? And that saves a ton of time.
I am going to try that because normally in the mornings it's usually waffle or cereal.
Yeah.
However, we went to Costco before we went to Portugal and we bought 60 Eggo waffles.
Yeah.
They are out of Eggo waffles. We were not gone 30 days ago. They have eaten them all. I looked in the chest freezer. There are no more waffles. And
Wow.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they ate them all. Yeah. They ate them all.
A lot of Eggos.
It's a lot of Eggos.
But yeah, I mean, it's like we have a
And that's
menu,
roomy.
right?
Yeah, that's roomy.
We have a menu where it's like, okay, and it's obviously depending on what we have on hand, but it usually includes most of the things I already mentioned: waffles, yogurt, cereal. My son really likes frozen sausage biscuits. Obviously, I hate them up,
Yum.
but like
Yum.
he likes they make like Jimmy Dean, and there's another brand that they sell at Publix that make like little snack size ones. They come in little 2-packs. He likes
Sure.
2 of those with Chick-fil-A sauce on them, and I'm like,
Love it.
go to
man.
town, my man.
Get it.
And so, usually they order something, but I keep the menu specific where like they go, I want pancakes. And I'm like, I'm not making
Right.
fucking pancakes on a Wednesday morning.
Sure.
I will make you sausage biscuits, oatmeal, cereal, yogurt, waffles.
Mhm.
That's the list. And it's kind of extensive and you have options. So it's not
Right.
like you get one thing or the other, but it really just helps me with the planning, because even something as simple as like, I will get ready for bed and I will set out the dishes, like a plate for my son for his sausage biscuits, bowl for my daughter for her cereal. And I'll be like, okay, that will remind me and maybe I'll set out like the oatmeal or the cereal or whatever it is, so that I know, okay, this is what everybody wants, and just kind of reminds me. But that saves a lot of time on their decision. What we haven't done as consistently are the packing lunches and pulling out clothes. But because when we pull out clothes, that has saved us time. When we pack lunches, that's fine. Like, I don't mind the packing lunch because I only pack it for my son. My daughter prefers school lunch. My son always eats the same thing because you can't have salami or ham at his Jewish preschool.
Sure.
And so he's always wants a turkey sandwich with mayonnaise. And he always gets the same like side. So I don't have to think about it. So like I sit there and like eat my breakfast, drink my coffee, pack his lunch at the kitchen counter. It works for me. And it allows my wife to deal with them like emotionally a little bit more.
Sure.
which is helpful for me sometimes. But yeah, I would just say that the long and short of it is tonight, prep your kids for the morning. Obviously, by the time you all hear this, you'll be getting ready for a holiday weekend. So use it on Monday night. But yeah.
Yeah, we do. So I prep the lunches. I still put them in the lunch boxes in the mornings with an ice pack, but lunches are prepped and ready to go. Unless there's a specific thing where my daughters need to have a specific outfit, it's usually just I'll check the weather in the morning and say, hey, shorts or pants, long sleeves or short sleeves, that could end up being like a dress with shorts and pants, like whatever they want to do. Don't really care. It's just like, I will tell them when they leave the door if they need a jacket or not. That's kind of just like where we come down.
My kids are feral and they just like, I don't tell them. Like I might give them suggestions, but then their solution is they walk out the back door in their underwear and feel it for themselves. And I'm like, all right, we live in Florida. They're not going to get frostbite, but
yeah, no, I like it. Sometimes my daughter doesn't believe me and she'll ask her Ziggy, and I'll say, I literally just told you that. But it's fine. Sometimes you just got to hear it from your AI robot.
My daughter likes the power and the authority, but like the gap for her a little bit, but especially her brother, is like that thing will come back with a number, and she doesn't know what to do with that. Where I'm like, for us, again, being Florida people, high 60s is pants weather.
Sure.
Like mid 70s is shorts weather. Like there's a narrow band where it like switches for us, and it's just like, I think you don't know what, because it'll be like, it's 57 degrees and it's going to get up to 62 in like February, because that's winter temperatures. And she'll be like, oh, it's a shorts day. I'm like, no, it's not. You're going to be cold as heck, because none of these buildings around here have heat. Like you're going to be cold. You need pants.
Right. So. Yeah. Are we going to work on something?
Let's work on something. You want to start? You want me to start?
I'll start. So this is a hybrid. Before I left Portugal, I was 180 flat the night before I left. The day I came back, I was 190. Told you. I ate a lot of food. Traveled with a great group, but I walked a lot. Yeah, that was 10 pounds in like 6 days. I've been back 2 weeks. I mentioned I'd gotten sick. I'd gone to the gym a bunch. I weighed in at 178 today, so dropped 12. So I'm going to call that like a net loss of 2 pounds. So I figured it was travel weight. Yeah, it was travel weight. And I'm fine with that. I want to say that my audiobooks have just made me work out harder, because I listen to audiobooks for cardio and I listen to podcasts when I lift weights because of the counting and the reps. But I have found, and I mentioned this to you in some texts, but on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I ran 7.5 miles. So going into today, I ran 22.5 miles. I started running again, and after 4 miles, my audiobook finished. And unlike with a podcast, I then had to do something with the Libby app. So I had to take my phone and I had to start a new book. It ruined my run. So I ended up just power walking the rest of the hour. So I only made it 4 miles today. But what I have found was that on the treadmill, 7.5 miles per hour, which is a fine speed, is kind of like the perfect running speed for me because it's a great workout, 7.5 miles, but I could keep going. If the treadmill didn't automatically stop me at an hour and go into cool down mode, I could probably keep going. And so what's great about that is, and this is a whole other story, but the gym at work took away the TVs. Oh, did I not tell you this?
You did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the gym, right. Oh, okay. Got it. So they took away the TVs. So now I'm just in front of the mirror and I'm just watching myself while I am listening to an audiobook and running. And I have found that 7.5 miles per hour is something that I can do for the full hour and not worry about looking at the clock. And that's kind of really all I need. And because I have been able to run longer, I am listening to more books.
Nice.
I finished a 3-book series. I'm on a Star Wars kick right now. Just started a new one today. So I just listened to Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, and Queen's Hope, which is a 3-book series about Padme Amidala. The first one is starts with her, as I mentioned last podcast, starts on her last day as Queen of Naboo on election day, when then she becomes Senator Amidala. The second book is a prequel to that, where she becomes queen. And then the third book is starts right at the beginning or right at the end of Attack of the Clones. So her wedding to Anakin Skywalker, and then, adjusting to that life.
Yeah.
It's good YA. And, as I mentioned, I keep waiting for part 3 of the graphic audio of Dark Age to drop so that I can listen to all 3 right away, because I don't want to have a break. But this is a nice little Star Wars binge I'm on right now because, I used ChatGPT and asked for the entire canon list. Basically, I had mentioned how Disney, essentially every Star Wars book that came out after the Disney acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2024 is considered canon. So I've just limited myself to canon books. So I've got a ChatGPT list of like 100 books. And it also lists if they are sequential in any way. So, since I had already started, I just went where I was, but now I'm starting back at the beginning on the first canon novel, and I'm going to try to go through while also honoring sequential books. So, it's exceptionally nerdy. I love Star Wars though, and it wasn't until season 2 of Andor that I just wanted more and more of it. I'd say every 5 or so years I get really into Star Wars, and season 2 of Andor really kicked it off. And just a recommendation, I haven't finished yet because I haven't had time to myself in front of the TV. But if you do like the Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, this Darth Maul Shadow Lord series is so good, phenomenally good. So highly recommend. Yeah,
might take a look at that. Yeah. I mean, I went into vacation just like I was maybe misguided on what my sleep patterns might look like.
Sure.
I was misguided on my, we'll just call it discipline. Don't love that word, but my ability to operate in a calorie deficit or worse, or at worst maintenance. And the thing was, it is so hard to do. It's so hard. right? And it's not even like I wasn't doing, like, oh, I paid for this food, I might as well finish it kind of thing. Like it was like the way this cruise was set up was you had options for breakfast, and option one was a buffet. Option two was a like a sit down restaurant. And then you could go to the buffet for lunch, or you could go to the like counter service places by the pool. Like
And
like
all
Asian
inclusive,
pizzas, goofy, yeah.
all inclusive cruise though, right?
Yeah. I mean, not for alcohol. Disney does not do alcohol, but like you could just walk up and you could be like, I would like 10 slices of pizza, and then you get it on a tray and nothing gets charged.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
then, and then like soda fountains that, just out general public, tons of cups.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. And so, it very much was like we got on there. We got on the ship on Thursday afternoon, and we had been like waiting for lunch. And so I go around and I got chicken breasts. I got broccoli. Like I got a few things, but like I skipped out on the dessert. But I think what really caught up to me is like I was trying to make good decisions at breakfast and trying to make healthy decisions at lunch and trying to make healthy decisions at dinner. And I made a lot of healthy decisions. And it's one of those things that I ate healthy food for the most part. I partook in an ice cream cone or 2 or 3 over the course of the trip. I definitely had a few sweets, not like saying that it was perfect, rock solid, but like I ate a lot of healthy food. The key word being volume. Like you can eat healthy food, it still contains calories. And if you eat a lot more, if I'm like, wow, this is a healthy option for breakfast, and so is this, and so is this. Now I've eaten 3 times what I would normally eat for my healthy breakfast. And like it's all like it's like, wow, I had 8 slices of turkey bacon, and turkey bacon is healthy.
Right.
Kind of thing that I was doing a lot. But I was happy, it was amazing. Like I got my steps in pretty easily, quite honestly. Like I got a ton of movement minutes just working around the ship. I lifted weights, did some cardio on the treadmill. Don't love treadmill running. I'm gonna have to solve that because like I went running this morning and it was just like it's getting sticky.
It's definitely tough. I'm always so much happier when I run outside. What I will say, once you can get over mentally, sometimes it can be annoying. The gym you go to, the YMCA, do they have Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would recommend if you want, especially since you have Bluetooth headphones, and I think you have at least some version of a tablet. If you're willing to bring an iPad to the gym and you want to put something on, just like a 30-minute show, and just have it sit there, that's a good way to like get into it. If the audiobooks don't necessarily help, because for me, the hardest part
the audiobooks
is
aren't the
visuals.
problem. The problem with the treadmill is like the pacing, right? Where it's like I like to be able to throttle up and throttle back based on, like I'm still doing a lot of like intervals and stuff of like run walk splits. And like on the run walks, it's like I kind of want to feel it out. Like I'm usually monitoring my Apple Watch for my heart rate and like going, okay, how well did I recover? Right? Like trying to build up my cardio base since my operation in January, and like not trying to get my heart rate into like the 160s or the 170s, but keep it between 130 and like 155 so that I can be building more cardio endurance, because that's more scientifically proven to do that. Because like I could go for 5 to 10 minutes in the 160s or 170s, and then I could be absolute toast and not be able to start again. Right. Like my nervous system wouldn't handle it. And so it's the ability, like every time I'm doing a run interval, to be like, okay, I'm gonna like be much closer to like a very, very slow run. Or then like in the like last interval I did today, I was like, I know that there is no more running after this.
Right.
And I went after it, and it went from, and I'm a slow runner. I'm not going to act like it. So like I was doing for most of my intervals around a 14-minute a mile pace. And then on my last interval, I was at a 10-minute a mile pace because I was just like, I'm going to just empty the tank here because there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. So 5 miles per hour is a 12-minute mile.
Yeah.
How long would you say you can run at 5 miles per hour?
I haven't timed like a pure like distance, like total capacity. It's basically one of those things where I'll run for a couple minutes, walk for a couple minutes, and it's timed. So maybe it's 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. And then I do that for a week or two until that feels like easy. And then I upgrade it. I take I've taken a very similar approach to this because one, I realized like I haven't signed up for some race. I'm not in some hurry to get to a finish line where my end goal is just to be able to run a 5K consecutively without walking and then increase my speed. And then maybe at some point I'll increase my distance. But I don't have some big designs on being a runner. I just think that, and this is not me giving anyone any sort of fitness benchmarks for themselves. My fitness benchmark is the ability to run a 5K is a good standard that I want to have as I approach 40.
Yeah.
And so I think it's literally like, I'm just trying to build up to that. And so I'm taking the same approach as I take to like my resistance training, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do 8 reps at this weight. Next week, I'm going to do 10 reps. Next week, I'm going to do 12 reps. And after I do 12 reps, then I'm going to add 5 pounds. And I'm going to go back down to 8 reps and then 10. And it's like just creating that system and that consistency, because what has happened to me in the past is I will do something like, let's see how long I can run at the pace that I think I should be running.
Sure.
And then I will like gas out and it will become hard and I will hate it so much that I will then stop running pretty quickly, like in totality as part of my plan. And so part of this is me going, I don't like running. So I have found a system that I'm like, this makes it more manageable. And really my goal, really my benchmark and why I'm usually running at like a 14-minute pace is because my wife, in a shock to absolutely no one that's been listening to this episode, let alone more of our podcast, bit of a Disney nerd. Disney has races. My wife has gotten into, more distance running. She ran a virtual half marathon on Saturday. And like, and her mile times were about the same as these like 2-minute splits that I'm talking about. She will admit that she's not fast, but she did 13.1 miles. And she can get down to like 10 minutes when she's doing more of a 10 minutes a mile when she's doing more of a 5K. But like, she has her eye on doing some of these Disney races. They open up, they get bought up pretty quickly. And it's been one of those things where I'm like, if she signs up for one, the 5Ks usually don't fill up as fast, but like I've told her like, hey, if you sign up for one of these, you can by all means sign me up for a 5K. And they have sweepers at these races, people that are making sure you're keeping up with a bare minimum pace and will kindly tell you to get the hell out of there if you're not keeping up with that. The sweeper pace for a Disney race is 17 minutes a mile. It is not fast. And so I'm like, if I can clear that pretty easily, then on my worst race day, by the time I get up to 5K pace, I'm not going to get swept, which is mortifying. Like that cannot happen to my ego. Like I don't need to be Usain Bolt. I don't need to be a Kenyan marathoner, but I need to not get taken off the course at Disney World.
Yeah. So I will say, and you and I have talked obviously this whole podcast for 4 seasons now about, working out and strategies. And we also talked about how like I played football in high school. You did not. I got to college. I like knew how to work out. You learned how to work out. And we have very different philosophies on just like what we need to do. I always, and you usually are in better shape than me. I very much view working out as kind of just like, what do I need to do to be good at life? The only sprinting I ever need to do is to catch a metro. So for me, I think about just cardio as distance. So when I see people at the work gym, and a lot of people will say to me, they're like, you were flying on the metro for on the treadmill for a long time. And I just say, I find a pace that I can be the most efficient for the longest time. Yeah. And so when I tell people, I say like, hey, like if you want to build up your stamina and you're like, I don't know if I can run for 20 minutes. I say like, I choose like 5 miles per hour because a 12-minute mile, is fine. And I'll say like run, like set it to 5. And if you can go that 12 minutes that first day, try to go 13 minutes the next day and see, and just try to build it up, because for me, it's more of just like I just want to be healthy, which is why, with weight training, I'm now at the point where like when I was in high school, it was, I just got to get my max up, just got to keep lifting more. And for me now it's like, okay, I want to hit, and I haven't gotten there yet. And I've been going down a little, but it's like, I want to hit 60 total reps of 135. And I want to do that in 3 sets of 20, because that will shape my body thinner, but it'll still be strong. And like, that's what I want. Like, I don't need to be, there's never going to be a situation in my life again where I need to lift more than 200 pounds. Like if I'm if we're moving homes, anything that big, I'm paying someone to move anyway. Right. So like, I'm just trying to think about it. So now my workouts are more like practical.
Yeah. And I think that's like, for me, it's these same oscillations where, it's not, I very much, my motivation has shifted many times over the years, where it's like, sometimes the motivation is, it's been very aesthetic, right? Like I want to do the things that are going to get me broader shoulders and a narrower waist and a bigger chest and like stronger, more defined legs, right? Like very focused on more of like a bodybuilding like aesthetic. And I'm like, that takes some pretty, intense dieting to, you learn pretty quickly. You do your research, like to look like a bodybuilder, you gotta do some pretty intense like dieting and all that. And I've gotten to a point in my life where for me, it's also like very functional, where like, I want to be able, the 5K thing is like, if my kids are ever taking part in a charity 5K, just being able to do it. Right. And making that something I can do. And like, I have strength metrics I want to get to, like you, it's like reps at 135, but it's no, I'm not trying to be the guy that does, 405 or something like that. I'm not trying to be a power lifter, because what I'm really focused on is just like making sure that I move well. And that's been a big thing since I got back from the cruise too, where like, speaking of morning routines, take a little full circle. I started waking up 10 minutes earlier. I used to wake up at 6:20 because everybody else was up at 6:30, and it would allow me to like start making coffee and getting breakfast ready. I started waking up at 6:10. And with those 10 extra minutes, I do a brief mobility, because like, I was like, I have been really good about getting in my strength workouts. I have been really good for several months now about getting in my cardio. I have not been good about getting in my mobility. And like, don't feel like sacrificing those other things. And because of my morning routine, I don't have an abundance of time to do it while I'm at the gym. But I'm like, the mobility doesn't require me to go anywhere, to be doing some hip and shoulder and back mobility to just feel better. And so like, I'm like, it's those little things, the same with the running and the same with the weightlifting, where like, instead of being like, all right, I need to just run 3 miles and like just suffer through it and grit through it and make it happen. It's like little progress every day, because consistency is the thing that is going to show up for us when we're 50, when we're 60, when we're 70. It's going to show, it's going to show up because we showed up, of like making all those adjustments.
Yeah. You mentioned, being able to do 5Ks when you're 40, for me, I think about, I have a similar goal, and it's like, I want to be able, and, who knows how old we get before I can give up on this goal. Hopefully at least 60. I want to be able to run as many minutes as my age. So like, I try to never run less than 37 minutes. I mentioned I only made it 33 minutes today because of the audiobook Libby switchover fiasco, but I did go the full hour on the treadmill when I switched to power walking, because I just wanted to keep listening. So so that's kind of what I do. So my goal is to just always run my age as a minimum. And it's kind of like I'll never be this good at golf, but how it's always like, can you shoot under your age as you get older? Like the Steve Spurrier model.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's just it's consistency. It's the, I think I don't have any weird arbitrary like age related goals like that, but it's like, I just want to be a little bit better at everything, month over month, year over year, until like I can't keep getting better, because then at some point my best foot's going to be forward. So anyway.
True. And frankly, I just want to eat whatever I want, but the more I exercise, the more I can.
Yeah, that's the real thing I see when you post messages about running for an hour and being like, vacation detox.
Yes.
You are like, I am going to maximize the calories out equation.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So,
alrighty, folks.
All right. Yeah. You do that, and I'll prep it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you bearing with us as we took a brief hiatus. Believe we'll be here next week, but sometimes life comes up. We were planning to be here last week. And just we've been planning to be here for the last 2 weeks, but not planning that hard. Plan your mornings better. Plan the night before.
Yeah.
Plan last minute. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Visit workingondadpod.com. You can find all our social media handles that we sometimes post to, as well as our YouTube channel, as well as some fun little bios about us. He's Ethan. Yeah. I'm Alex. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a good Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.